Welcome back to another video of the Average Net Worth series. Previously, we have talked about the average net worth of Americans in their 20s. In today's video, we will discuss the average net worth of Americans in their 30s. And if you haven't watched the previous video, you can find its link in the description below. Well, let's get back to this one. In 2022, the average net worth of a 30-year-old American is around $8,000. On the other hand, the net worth of an individual who is above average at the age of 30 is closer to $250,000. The difference can be explained by things like education, the amount saved, the rate of return on investments, consistency, and income. According to CNN Money, the average net worth in 2022 for people aged 25 to 34 is $9,000, while the average net worth for people aged 35 to 40 is around $52,000. These numbers don't seem to add up. However, this is due to the wide age gap that exists. With only a 7% savings rate prior to the worldwide pandemic, it is clear that the majority of Americans are not fiscally responsible with their money. As a result of people becoming more accustomed to living with the virus in 2022, the percentage of individuals saving money has decreased. Today, the typical American saves about 6% of their annual salary, compared to an astounding 30% at the height of the pandemic in the year 2020. The bull market is alive and well, which is one of the reasons why the average net worth of a person aged 30 or younger is increasing at a somewhat faster rate. In addition, a person who is above average when they are 30 does a great deal more than the typical person to strengthen their financial situation. For an above-average person in their 30s, we have to consider many things as to how they get above that level. To begin with, it is important to discuss the typical tax-deferred retirement savings plan that individuals in the United States have. We will concentrate on the straightforward 401(k) plan that is available throughout the country, and which allows citizens to defer a maximum of $20,500 of their salary before taxes each year as of 2022. The amount has a pattern of increasing by approximately $500 every 2 years. It is important to keep in mind that we are discussing the above-average person. After their second full year of work, it is assumed that the above-average person will be able to start contributing the maximum amount to their tax-deferred retirement plan each year, and that they will keep doing this every year until they turn 60. The minimum possible return is 0%, and the maximum possible return is 8%. While the average rate of return over history has been between 7% and 8%. You can, of course, lose money or make much more of it if you are skilled and fortunate, but the numbers that we are discussing here are merely the averages. Therefore, given that the maximum contribution limits for the 401(k) have increased over time, middle-aged savers between the ages of 30 and 40 will contribute at least $18,000 a year for the majority of their careers. This is because the maximum contribution limits for the 401(k) have increased over time. To be prudent, this assumption excludes any after-tax savings from a 401(k) contribution or any 411(k) business matching. It is much preferable to wind up having an abundance of money rather than a scarcity of it. On the low end, we might deduce from these numbers that an individual in their 30s in the United States can save approximately $5,000 per year in after-tax income. An individual can potentially save between $10,000 and $15,000 in after-tax income each year by investing the maximum amount possible in tax-deferred retirement vehicles. Since we are not taking into account inflation or investment returns, we are, of course, keeping this discussion as straightforward as possible. The above-average person actually has a very good chance of being able to put away $5,000 to $15,000 of their annual income after taxes. It ought to be well within the reach of people with annual incomes of more than $60,000. It's all a matter of motivation for the above-average 30-year-old. So, if you want to achieve financial independence at an earlier age, you not only need to beef up your tax-advantaged retirement accounts, but you also need to aggressively build your after-tax investment accounts so that they can spit off enough passive income. If you do this, you will be able to achieve your goal of achieving financial independence at an earlier age. In fact, the key to early retirement and financial independence is amassing sufficient assets so that you can subsist off of your investments. If you are unable to make a living off of your investments, then you are not fully free from your financial obligations. You should make it a goal to own the primary residence you live in before you turn 30. If you don't already have a primary residence by the time you're 30, you should start investing in real estate online at the very least. According to recent research, the typical homeowner has a net worth of approximately $200,000. When compared to the average renter's net worth of $5,000, this is a big jump. However, the main point is that people who are considered to be above average almost always have more money and own their homes. When compared to the average net worth of someone who rents, the average net worth of someone who owns their own house is significantly higher. The return on investment for rent is consistently 100%. You are provided with housing, and that is the end of it. There is never a positive return on an asset, no matter how long you rent it for, be it 1 month or 30 years. A renter is unable to transfer their owned home to their children or grandkids once it has been paid off. There is absolutely no accumulation of assets at all. There is a good reason why property ownership accounts for around 97% of all millionaire wealth. Take a look at the median sales price for any state starting in 1990 and going forward. There are unquestionably prosperous times followed by lean times. However, throughout the course of time, the values of real estate in every city have continued to rise. Because of the power of leverage, any person who bought a property in the United States between the years 1990 and 2000 is now a millionaire. The value of real estate can differ significantly from one area of the country or the world to another. It is really challenging to create an accurate prediction. The U.S. Census Bureau says that the median price of a home in the U.S. right now is about $370,000. There is nothing livable that can be purchased for $370,000 in the cities of San Francisco, New York City, Los Angeles, and possibly even Washington, D.C. and Boston. However, this is not the case in the Midwest or the South. So, investing in towns with a higher chance of job growth is a good idea, since prices in the middle of the country are lower and technology has made it possible for people to work from anywhere. Let's say the average 30-year-old invests $250,000 to $500,000 in property, so we can estimate their average net worth. They will have owned the property for 1 year and pay down $3,500 to $7,500 in principal on a $250,000 to a $400,000 loan by the time they turn 31. So when a 30-year-old pays off his or her mortgage in the next 30 years, he or she will be 60 years old and will have a home to live in rent-free for the rest of his or her life. That is the property's true value, the rent saved for the rest of the owner's life. Home prices have generally returned slightly more than inflation each year, 2 to 3%. If the average person puts down 20%, the 2 to 3% returns become a 10% to 15% cash-on-cash return every year. The typical S&P 500 returns of 8% to 10% is outperformed by 10 to 15%. When you factor in the tax benefits of the mortgage interest deduction, buying a property with a mortgage becomes more appealing to higher-income workers. In light of this conversation, it seems that the average wealth of prosperous 30-year-olds is about $250,000. The person's wealth should have increased to about $660,000 by the time he or she is 40 years old. And by the time he reaches the age of 60, their net worth will be around $2,180,250. Maintaining a regular schedule of saving and investing is crucial. Allocating your assets or net worth wisely can have a remarkable impact on your financial future, so make sure to take care of these things if you are in your 30s. That's all for today's video. What is your average net worth? Tell us in the comment section below. Also, if you have any questions regarding the video, feel free to leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Until then.